Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and on with the program.
All right, testing. One, two, three on the mic testing. Today's headlines: Smoke now, forget later. AI and the wrong guy. Roach removal. Quantum entanglement speed. And feeling safer alone. All this and more on my desktop podcast. My name is Jason Ochsner, and this is my makeshift broadcast that I've been doing now. I think this is the beginning of week 2 or 3. I think it's week 2. They say if you stick with something long enough, it becomes a habit. I don't know what my programming is going to be on this thing, but I definitely want to make a habit of showing up every day to something. But to be honest with everybody knows that this isn't my main interest. My main interest is jamming on my fiddle, my guitar, and I have some music, and I invite everybody to check out www.hollabodyexperience.com, where you can learn about my music and all the silly, nonsensical things that I do just to pass the time away. Our first headline we had smoke now, forget later. Well, what are we talking about? Well, according to the neuroscience.com, young adult substance use affects memory at 65. Now, I briefly read through this, and basically what it's saying is alcohol, cannabis, and cigarettes in your 20s predict significantly poor self-reported memory later in life. Even if you quit at 30, 35, you're still stand a very strong chance of your memory being affected from your early party usage. So they say practice moderation, and you really, really, really should practice moderation like none. But we know everybody's going to do more than none. But just remember, you're not going to remember anything but none after the age of 65 because of poor choices like myself that I made in my 20s and 30s and 40s. I carried the torch a little longer, I guess, than I should have. All right, so check this article out, neuroscience.com. Read about this, study it, really think about, the pros and cons of those Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, uh, and think about that because it's all going to catch up to you. There's that Google if you get a chance, Google the stacking pennies thing, and maybe that will help you understand why you should you know try to quit anything that's toxic for you as soon as possible. All right, let's stay healthy here, but unfortunately, this is not a healthy thing. The second headline: AI and the wrong guy. You know, we all knew that this was going to happen. We all have seen plenty of science fiction movies and stuff like that. But according to this headline here, let me close this. AI used facial recognition to arrest a Tennessee woman for crimes committed in a state that she says she never even visited. It took quite some time for Angela Lips 50 to, I believe, get all this stuff straight. All this stuff that she supposedly did happen in North Dakota. And she's like, I've never even been in North Dakota. So, I mean, I know this sounds crazy, what I'm about to say. And maybe that's why I'm the one that should be saying it because, I'm kind of like the poster child for Village Idiot. Um, I forget what we were talking about the AI stuff. Look, all I can see, that's how dumb I am. Village Idiot. Um, oh, now I remember what the Village Idiot was going to say. All right. They say we're one in a million, right? If we're one in a million, think about it. There's like, what, like 8.6 billion of us? So what's that make? Like 80 of us that are like the same? There's like 80 doppenganglers or whatever they call it out there of you. AI, man, you got to step up. If we're going to be relying on AI, we got to make sure that they know all the branches of these unique snowflakes that we're all supposed to be, these thumbprints that we're all supposed to be. You know, read this article courtesy of CNN.com. It's about an 8-minute read, and I spent about 8 seconds on it. Next headline: How to keep these damn roaches out of your house. All right, let's see. Is it going to pull up? There we go. All right, this is courtesy of Southern Living. Spring's coming. I just got done, or I just got finished, I should say properly, uh, trying to do one of these things, and that's clear the area around my house foundation today. I started cutting grass already and weed eating areas, and started moving, pots and old lawn furniture out of the way and getting those places before they start picking up. But especially around your house, because all those areas, your foundation is the most important place that you need to keep clean. That's like the beginning of how you protect yourself from unwanted pests like cockroaches. Now, if you go to the Southern Living article, it'll give you exactly step by step, sealing entry points, putting away pet food, cleaning away pet waste, taking out the trash. Now there's one thing that they do not have in this that I would like to say, once again, coming from the village idiot. I found that you have to pick a team when it comes to the bugs. There's multiple forces. There's three main forces, okay? Hear me out, okay? There's the roach force. Infestation of roaches, they rule the house. There's the ants. They can potentially rule your house. Or the fleas. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. For me, I found in my experience, I have become allies with the ants. I don't leave any sugar or anything like that on my countertops. There's no ants in my house, but I do not exterminate ants on the outside, especially I invite them around my foundation area because they kill termites, number one, and they'll tear up a cockroach and they'll very much protect you. Once again, this is information that's coming from a village idiot. But that has been my crazy experience with how to keep cockroaches out. Those and fleas. I've teamed up with the ants. Okay, next headline. We're going to go to quantum entanglement speed. Now, I don't know if you guys know exactly what quantum entanglement is. I guess the quickest way from a musician standpoint is kind of like when you ring two tuning forks that are the same and they both vibrate. They're on both of the same frequency. Okay, with quantum entanglement, you have like two particles that have share the same state, the same energy. And no matter where these two particles are, if they're right here together or they're a million miles away, when when one moves, the other one moves the exact same way. Like in this article, um, describe it as like two coins. You flip one on heads, it's going to both be on heads. But what this article is about, which is courtesy of Earth.com, quantum entanglement speed measured for the first time, it's too fast to be compared. They're measuring this stuff in like billionths of a second. I think it's called an attosecond. Trying to like no matter how far, I mean, it's almost the speed of light. How fast these both change the same exact way, you know. And that's what this article is about. It's you know it's pretty cool. I don't know. I think we all kind of knew this from the movie E.T. when we were kids. When E.T. would get sick and Elliot would get sick, they were quantumly entangled. And we've also learned this from tuning forks. I mean, we know, or at least I understand it from resonance. Is it a frequency? Is it a number? I don't know what it is. It's definitely not a particle first. I don't think. Is it? No. Nah. I don't know. But speaking of knowing, one thing I do know is today's weather. Let's pull it up. Let's see, what do we have? Well, once again, my infamous snow. Wait, there it goes. Well, it did get hot today. I got all the way up to 70 today. We were myself, my mother, and my kid brother. We're all out working in the yard, trying to get Mama's house looking good. Like I said, trying to clear those areas of roaches, and we enjoyed it in 70-degree weather today. And it's going to cool down to a 58. I think right now it's currently at 64, but it's going to drop down to 58. And we're going to kind of repeat the same thing with a bump of numbers up to 76 tomorrow for a high and 61 for a low. So that's going to look pretty promising for another repeat. Um, Last story of the night or day. It was supposed to be day. I don't know, day, night. It's at least I'm making it. I'm showing up, right? Feeling safer alone. Why did I bring this up? Well, this one's a psychological one. This one's coming from psychology. Uh, uh, what is it? Is it Psychology Today? Veg Out is the article where it's coming from, the source. And this is kind of something I guess hits home. But psychology says adults who have no close friends aren't people who failed at connection. They're people who got hurt specifically enough early enough that they had built a life so self sufficient the hurt never had to happen again. And the self sufficiency worked, and the loneliness was the price. So it's a good article for, I feel, not leaning one way or another, but especially males. I know there's a lot of angry, I mean, not angry, well, angry too, but lonely, single, alone males out there. I'm one of them, that gets lonely sometimes, but and we put on these ugly shields and masks as well, but we know that it's the pain, you know, the letdown. Some of it we hurt ourselves, some of others hurt us, and definitely need some kind of, at least a support group, or at least some kind of a way of connecting just a smidge more, because I know, being a complete introvert, which I am, I'm an introvert. I know that uh, there's extrovert exists for a reason, because you can't have one without the other. You have to breathe in air eventually, and if you're an introvert, it's kind of like, you're holding your breath, but eventually you got to breathe, and it, even if it's as silly as what I'm doing right now with this, podcast, with no one really listening, but just still breathing, trying to get out there, you know, going to the store, the grocery store, especially. There's places that you avoid because you might bump into somebody. Doing those things. And speaking of doing things, there's still plenty of time, because this is still just Monday of the beginning of a week. And speaking of this week, in the middle of this week, we have the infamous April Fool's Day. And I don't know if you guys remember or not, but they were talking about a rocket launch. Is it still going to happen? Is that, what was it? Was it the Artemis 2 that is heading for the moon? Remind me, because I have one of those short term memories. I don't know. But I'll see you guys Tuesday after, which is tomorrow. And I hope you guys have a lovely evening. And I will talk with you soon. All right. Good night.